Okay, so if you are staying, and just so you know, hopefully you're in the right area, Gene Savage is going to talk to us on innovation, education, and the future of mining. Gene's Vice President of Caterpillar's Surface Mining and Technology Division, based in Tucson, Arizona, and includes more than 8,000 employees located around the globe. In this position, she oversees the division of end-to-end value chain, ensuring a customer-centric approach in product design, development, manufacturing, and sales. Are you ready? It's all yours. Gene Savage.
Well, if you were in the last session, you're going to hear some similarities. So hopefully this hits a note. If you'll give me the chance, I just want to talk to you a little bit about why we're saying that you have to change some of the education, what we're training our people and our students to do. And then I'm going to go through some of the areas where we as a company are working with schools to make this happen. So you heard them talk about making things fun and interesting and solving problems. We're doing a lot of that, and it comes from the involvement from our employees. We listen to them, we listen to their passions, and we put it to work to help the students. So if you look at one of the hallways in our building, you're going to see we're changing the way the world mines through innovation and technology. We put that up because we want them thinking differently, just like the last session. It's not about the way we've always done things, it's about how we can do them better. Is it safer? Is it more sustainable? Is it better overall for the mines to make them sustainable so they can have jobs in the future? And it really drives a different thought process. And this is in a new mining center in Tucson, Arizona, where we have things like a 3D printer and a makerspace, and we have a cave where they can go in and they can look at their designs, and then they can go play on our machines. And really it's fun to get out there and play on some of those machines. We're trying to integrate that passion, and the passion comes to learn, right? So how am I going to do that throughout my career? Now, just a couple points on why we're doing that. When you look at mining, we have over 37,000 injuries or deaths occurring a year around the world. Way too many. None of us want that, right? So how do we get people out of harm's way? How do we get them back using skill sets they have and doing it safely and still giving the results that we need? So it is about just changing the way we do things. It's also about the work-life balance. If we can do things in an autonomous way, we can put those operating centers in big urban areas. You can get people coming back into the industry who maybe left because they didn't want fly in, fly out. You can also go ahead and open up the number of people who are willing to do it. So sometimes you're getting now more females attracted, more diverse candidates coming in to do this type of work because it's not taking them away from that family for 7 days, 10 days at a time. They get to go home after their shift, right? And they get to enjoy the urban cities. The other thing I just want to say on why it's important to change is technology is really changing. So we want to be more sustainable. Everyone has greenhouse gas reductions as important to them if you look in the mining industry. So we've got to change the way we do that. Is it batteries? Is it biofuels? Is it the trolley or electrification? So lots of things that we need to solve the problems for, and we need the students coming out being able to do that. So last thing before I get to the things I love, which is helping the kids in the STEM, is talking about the mine of the future, or the future of mining. It's going to be so different, and we need the skill sets because we have a lack of people going into this industry right now. There's a shortage, and they're great paying jobs, and I think if you get people understanding that if you don't grow something, you mine it. You have to have mining to have the world sustain that we need. So how do we make this education, how do we make the sustainability message get out there? And I love a quote from William Butler Yeats, and it's about education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. And this is the passion to learn. People who graduate today are going to have to reskill or change the way they do their jobs 4 or 5 times in their career. We need people who not only enjoy learning, but have a passion for that. So as their modes to do that work or their jobs change, they can figure out how to do that and have fun doing it. Right? You will not see people stay in a job forever, and you won't see the job stay the same. So at Caterpillar, we're interested in STEM, and now I'm going to get to some of the things I love. This picture is a girl in mining, and Karen Schultz, who's one of our trainers, is also a closet artist. We have our employees so passionate about doing this work, they volunteer to do things on their own time. This Introduce a Girl to Engineering or Girls Experiencing Mining. We had 50 of our employees take time out to take 80 girls coming in from underserved schools and set up a program that would get them excited about mining. You may think that may be hard to do, but when you have big equipment like this, and you let them get up on it and climb on it, and you let them do simulators, and you teach them how they can do things differently and learn and have fun doing it, it's amazing the response. So we went from having 40 girls the first year to 80 this year, and we're hoping to have 120 next year. Why are we doing girls? If you look in mining, very few girls are there, or women. So we've got about 19 or 20% coming into the field. So we're saying, how do we reach them? How do we get them excited about some of the STEM fields, and hopefully even mining going into the future? Another area we're really passionate is in FIRST Robotics. Have any of you gone to a FIRST Robotics competition? It's amazing to watch those teams, right? I get to judge some of them. So you go in and you're talking to students who are doing programming, they're doing simulation, they're doing manufacturing, and they're loving it. You also get them selling, so they have to learn how to market. They have to learn how to present to people. And if you're in high school or even in middle school, that's not always easy. And they do a terrific job, and the passion that they have as they're doing these events is amazing. So it's one that we really like because they also have a lot of metrics, and most companies like metrics, but they're showing the results of the work that's doing. So we not only have money that we give to this organization, we have our employees around the world volunteering their time to sponsor and teach these kids, to go out and do some of the judging. But it's a way to give back and to encourage students to come into fields that we love so much. Another one, Racing the Sun. It's about building gold carts with solar panels on it. And again, it's getting people interested in doing something fun and learning while they're doing it, and maybe going on into a STEM-type field. So when you look at things like this, again, volunteer employees, us and other companies in the area come together and do it. I don't know how much you do that here in Australia, hopefully a lot, but I'm sure there's companies like ourselves who would love to have their employees involved with something about giving back to the communities, helping to drive the industry and make things better. One more here. This engineering outreach program, one of our engineering managers had a passion, and he said, I want to bring in some students. I want to show them what we do here. I don't care if it's mining or not. I just want to show them about engineering. He put this entire program together. It was a 2-week program. We brought in 15 high school students, and these were either juniors or seniors. And our employees taught them about simulation. They taught them how to do 3D printing and use it. We let these children go out and play on some of the machines. We had safety in mind. We taught them what they needed to do, but they got to operate the machines. And when they graduated, we let them give a speech. What did you like? What did you learn about this? And again, the passion for what they were doing. It was the excitement about, hey, maybe I'm doing the right thing. I'm going into a STEM field. I want to go on to college. The other thing that we try to do is partner universities, community colleges, other businesses, and let them see what those opportunities are. And then we have the financial aid information there. Because again, a lot of this is underserved communities that we're trying to reach out to and help. And so they say there's a pathway to get that education, to help them learn. Get the next slide here. One of the other things that I did want to bring up is a call out to Rio Tinto. I don't know if you know, they recently gave $2 million to help set up a certificate program for automation because there's a skill set shortage. We're all taking each other's people and we're trying to get others in and try to train them. But this is working on that certificate not only for current employees, but for new students coming out of school. So it's a great way for people to learn. Now, I was asked to share a little bit about myself, so I'm going to say the last slide here is about the teamwork. It's going to take all of us doing that heavy lifting. Educators, it's going to take the businesses, it's going to take the government to say, how do we change in this environment that we have? How are we going to make things different? And I'll tell you, Caterpillar, for one, is stepping up to the plate and willing to step up to the plate to make that difference. But it's going to take all of us working together to make that happen. You know, the last presenter did a great job talking about the experiential, getting the hands-on, making it fun. And that's something that we're trying to do too as we look at the different programs that we're trying to set up for those students. Now I'm going to tell you why it's so important to me. I was the baby girl, number 5 of 6 children. My dad was a welder. My mom stayed at home. And so I also grew up in a neighborhood with more boys than girls. And I'm going to say that may have been an advantage for me because I grew up working on cars and I grew up with math and a mother who told me I could do anything I wanted to do. And I had a passion for that. I got really lucky too, though. I had school teachers who encouraged me, who said, you're good at math and science, maybe you should go to engineering. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I'm saying that because you guys make a huge impact on your students' lives just by telling them, encouraging them, telling them what they're good at. For me, I went into the military to pay for my college, couldn't afford to go, and gave me some experiences I'll never forget. But when I was in college, I also got a co-op, and I don't know how many schools in Australia do that. So I went to my freshman year, and then I went off and worked at an industry. So I got to see what engineering really was. It was hands-on, and it changed my mind. I was thinking about switching majors. And just by going and working with people and seeing what I would do when I get out, it made a huge difference. And so I'm saying that because encouraging industries too to bring these students in, to work with them, to help them learn what really happens after you get the studying, after you get the knowledge, and what they're going to be doing is important. The next thing I'm going to say is that the lifelong passion for learning really pays off. So I'm hoping you guys spark that fire that I had at the beginning and get students excited about what they might already know, but more importantly, what they can know. And that it never ends, right? The passion for that should never end. And we need to make sure that as we look for those answers, just like in the last session, it's not about how we've always done things. It's really about how we set up these teams and we do things very differently going forward. Now, I don't know how much time I took, but you've got 20 more minutes. I thought I only had 20 minutes. Okay. Anyway, so I want to open up and see if there's any questions about maybe some things that we can do. We have teams here in Australia. We have a dealer, WestTrack, who is working to have training in automation. And when we bring these things up, it's not just for our companies. We work with our customers. We open things up to universities and schools too, because it's really about raising the whole industry, raising the whole sector of the state, and how things can get done. So it's an opportunity. WestTrack will be talking about some formalization of their automation coming up, and look forward to hearing that. Just like Rio Tinto, they're paying back to the community. Do you guys have any questions about some of the things that we're working on or doing? Sure.
Do you have any programs that, so Westpac obviously is your distributor for WA, do you have any programs where, and you talked about earlier about kids actually seeing what happens after school, is there any programs through Westpac that can get the kids going to see some of the big machinery or what they could be doing after school?
I will follow up with Jarvis on that. I'm not sure that they have programs, but right now we've got machines around the city, and it's amazing how many selfies are happening, right? So one, most people in the state have people who work in the industry. They have family members. And getting to go up and see the equipment is great for them. They get to see what their mom or their dad or their cousin or uncle do every single day and use. But I will follow up and make sure that if you leave your name, we'll get you an answer on that, on what they're doing. We try to have some open houses, though, just for that reason. When you get up and see it, you have a different idea of what may happen or what's possible, and then how you change that. We may need to get some of the students involved in our next generation. So as we look at autonomous trucks and we take a cab off, we've got to redesign them. I bet some of the kids would have better ideas than we do, and we need to think about that. But great. Yes?
Selfish question, because it's partly my son's going into, he's a capable engineer entering into it, but also I worked in a school with a specialist engineering program. If the maths and sciences get you in,
Yes.
what gets you further once you're in? What are you looking for
Okay.
once they're in? You're now an engineer. How do you move up to your level?
So one of the things I'm going to say that, again, consistent to the last message, working as a team. No engineer can solve anything by themselves. It's teamwork. So I work with lots of universities in the United States, and we go around and we tell them, you've got to get people working on projects. You've got to get cross-disciplinary work going on. So people from your business school, working with your engineering school, and also from your math and sciences. When we get those teams together, they have the best ideas. They also have the business sense of saying, is this going to be economical? Can I sell it? Can I make it work? Because again, you can create the best idea. If you can't get it bought in, you can't get it through a committee to understand why it brings value and why you need to do it, it doesn't make sense. So teamwork, making sure they have that skill set, looking at some of those people who naturally collaborate. It's going to become more and more important. We put teams together where we'll have HR working with our engineers. And why? Because they're going to throw something out there that's crazy. And it's amazing the ideas that spark from that. And some of our best solutions come. So that one way, make sure they're team working and collaborating with the others in engineering. Make sure that they also have that passion for learning. Change, it's not going to stop, right? It's going to keep getting quicker. And we keep telling our team that you may change who you're working with, you may change the way you're doing things, and if you can't accept that and get past that fairly quickly, you're going to have problems, right? You're not going to be ready for the future. But hopefully that answers. Yep.
Can I ask you about social license?
Sure.
Because as that conversation gets to become a more hot topic, you can inspire a lot of kids to want to work in your sector, but they may, because of peer pressure, feel that that social license doesn't operate with a company like yours. So how seriously do you and other companies like you start to take this now?
Sustainability is one of our core values as a company for Caterpillar. And I can tell you, if you look at mining companies, there are three major objectives: zero harm or no injury, so safety first. The next one's going to be the greenhouse gas emissions reduction. And some of them have gone out boldly and said zero emissions by 2050. And then the third is going to be how they do that optimally so they can move less dirt. Okay, so it's going to be the selective mining. And when we tell people about that, it's like, we need your help on, battery or electrification. We think that's the future, or the hydrogen fuel cells that are coming up. So it takes greenhouse gas out. And if you can do that, and you can move less dirt, we can get the minerals to make this place, the world, better. We can supply everything we need. I mean, if I look around this room, the chairs, you would not have them without mining. The carpets, you wouldn't have them without mining. So mining's still a necessity for us. And I think in the future, unless we're going to go back to living like cavemen, we're going to need more and more of this. So help us figure out how we do it better, how we do it with less environmental impact, right? And then how we're going to meet the needs of a growing world, right? And the population that we have there, and more urbanization. So we talk to them about that. And then we also talk to them about the need for the overall on the safety. So how do we think about making things process-oriented? How do we make sure that we don't hurt anyone any day, right? They all go home and enjoy their family the same way they came in that morning. So we talked to them a lot about those things. You know, the girls experiencing mining, I put up a slide and it just had a soccer field. And I said, how many of you play, well, football here, sorry. How many of you play football? And most of them raised their hand. And it was, well, do you know you couldn't do that without mining? Let's talk about some of the minerals that go into the fertilizer that go onto that field, or the lines that you paint, or even the gear, you know, shin guards you have to wear. And then it's, do you have a phone? Everyone in that room had a phone, right? These are 6th and 7th and 8th grade girls. And the next thing was we put up a sign and said, here's where all the components for that phone come from. And without mining, you don't have that. So it's not a, do we do mining or not? It's how we do it more sustainably in the future. I don't know if that helps or not, or answers it.
I just think it's an interesting one, because kids may well want to do it, but they could feel that peer pressure that says, well, maybe shouldn't go into it because it's not necessarily being communicated as you just communicated it.
Yeah. I think we have to do a better job as an industry in doing that and making sure they understand that, you know, what comes out of mining and what that means to them overall, and then the fact of what we're doing to help make it more sustainable and what that pathway is. Because we're not there yet. I will give you that. We still have too many greenhouse gas emissions. We do. And every company that's upstairs right now are saying, how do you companies like OEMs help us get better with this? How do we reduce this while we're waiting for that technology to come along that eliminates that for them? So, anything else? No. Give you just a minute and then we'll... I really appreciate you coming in, and I know they mentioned earlier the suits upstairs, but we do care about education, love education. Hopefully you reach out, you get some of the employees from these companies coming in to share what they do, how they do it, get kids excited about what the possible is, and also share some of their skill sets. I think you would be amazed with that, and hopefully we continue to make an impact on the communities that we work in, a positive impact, right? Making them better than when we first got here. So thank you for your time, and hopefully the rest of your day goes very well.